Well, I'm visiting the Thursday, September 5, regular board meeting. Before I call him directly, apologize. We had two meetings for this. The last one, financing, about all your money, and it took a little longer, and I apologize for that. Fine. So yeah, I apologize to people who waited for it, try to show up. So yeah, okay. The microphone's not working. We can't hear you. People, I don't believe that. I do chambers, prepare the magic in there and all this stuff. Airways. Let's call me, we're gonna roll off.
Trustee Hollis, absent. Trustee Gillis.
Here.
Trustee Hunter. Here. Trustee Rosenbaum.
Here.
Trustee Brewer.
Here.
Trustee Todd.
Here.
Here. We are not executing this again, our usual home, but video recording available on those YouTube channel. Before we get started, this is why I'm here, but item 7B, the agenda, which concerns sort of Denmark, question of the homeless, holding that this one, so that's talk about it. Next item on the agenda is consideration of minutes. The minutes for prior meetings have been circulated before, published. There are minutes for the August 20, the whole board meeting, and the August 20, unless there are any comments or corrections, that there are minutes. So, the move seconded, all papers made on. Opposed, motion carries, minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is public comment. But not while you're here. Public comment is we ask members of the public to address the bill before any time in our meeting jurisdiction, but it's not on the agenda. If you want to speak about it, matter on the agenda, maybe filling a small and maybe your matters on consent agenda. If you want to talk about it, let us know. Agenda. So anyone who wants to speak should fill out the speed report. It's just outside the door. Submitted to the village manager. The non-agenda public time is you may come to the village board. We'll listen to what you have to say, but we will not openly discuss it this time. It's appropriate we ask the village manager or the legal staff. All speakers in this is true, both were non-agenda. Everybody. Force this rule. Awesome. We're with all non-agenda items for 30 minutes. By the way, we got a large group here. We normally limit public comment agenda is for 30 minutes as well, but we're going to extend that. We ask the ball, civil and independent. We ask all members to be on bring flying any other comments to the regular after. Finally, you better remind speech right with microphone. With that, are there any non-agenda public? Okay, there are not. The next item on the agenda is reports of committees. So English board members report about various committee activities prior month. First report made it all. And you should get it out of report. We didn't have a meeting at all. So I mean, that's why there's a report of finance committee. Had a meeting that outlook that our finance committee chair was approved.
Finance committee earlier
and of course, the bonders, staff, general fund, and I'm going to to, seated budget targets are items building from farming. Also, exceed budget. Now, everyone realizes the second phone, the taxes. Seriously related. And expenditures targeted. Three taking. The committee reviewed our projects. Two projects from the CIP list on tonight's agenda. Moving the city of information, change order. And the implementation company. We get more public in. Last month's meeting, the committee discussed. I discussion with staff to in the forecast. And in this evening's meeting, we reviewed our 5-year financial forecast, which includes detailed analysis of both historic expenditures as well as the forecast. And we do that on the basis of project the village will have capability to remain with its fund balance policy all the way to 2030. However, we get down to the water quality. Forecast all the way pricing cost with some price includes now. This the committee again discussed additionally. It's important to rise ways, and we're going to continue those discussions. Lastly, we reviewed the property tax bill for next year, which is eligible to rise to 2.9%. The quotes will be from tax expansion location law also mean as a example. As you know, we are acting to keep ourselves within as we would like to do. And here is incentive we have to move the 15th. You join us for next month's committee meeting for the next meeting. You will get to review calendar 2026.
Thank you, report. Next report is the plan commission, those board representative has files.
Good evening. On September 17th, the Plan Commission continued its discussion on the development of a planned unit development ordinance. This project came out of the recommendations of the comprehensive plan and is in its early stages. The Commission talked about the goals of a planned unit development ordinance, a potential PUD review process and review responsibilities, and the types of projects that it would benefit from a PUD ordinance being in place. In October, the Commission will continue this process with a discussion of what current regulations allow and how a PUD ordinance could help the village meet the goals of the comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Thank you. A brief summary of our meeting. We reviewed August financials. August was a great month for golf. We averaged over 260 rounds a day, exceeding budgeted rounds by 1,100, and revenues exceeding budget by 18%. Staff is in the process of getting proposals for a new park fleet around the end of the 5-year lease deal. Unfortunately, the new proposals are quite a bit higher to the increase in manufacturing costs. High school tryouts and practices began for the season. Evanston, where a lot more from day, utilizing golf course. And staff has been meeting with friends of the Glencoe Golf Club, discussing future fundraising events, and a cultivation event has been scheduled with that. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Words, Stanville, words of broken, but are representing
Thank you, President Ron. The family back for August was there for had when came up with that availability. So that is moved both and bottom and move that issue. But that was sad. That was all this update of actually heard it. That we resolving. There's a lot of people. Further. And that was a mile of the three. Additionally, the cabins and rate from the great. And burglary, 2026. But it's also being affected. And the built and all day and the planning meeting annually at initiate the building and location. The building for that annually action. That's the FP 30.
Where. For the community. And representing.
President Rowan, the GCIC met on September 8th to review previous activities and events. Discuss opportunities. The council were elected on the recent school supply donation drive, moving and promise on the end of September. Members of the public can donate through links on social media. The Constitution sponsorship, the district grade 5 Glencoe School District grade 5 community event, which will benefit Glencoe Service, the American Heart Association, and the Lymphoma Research Foundation. GCIC members will also support the event by volunteering to team. Digital anything I will discuss, prepare, and supporting the Chicago Rock on the village's study job event, and the village's light and lights event. We will also conduct a hat and love drive in December. Finally, GCIC discussed and determined allocations for their budget given a draft and on allocation. The next regular scheduled meeting of the GCIC is Monday, October 6th.
Reports, preservation, the community division, representing and trust me.
Thank you. At the September 2nd meeting, Preservation Commission reviewed the certified landmark located at 80 Estate Lane. The property owner and the representatives were seeking feedback for a potential certificate of appropriateness. Following a detailed discussion, the commission provided feedback to the property, who was advised of the next steps in submitting a formal application to the commission. This is one of the things the commission does. We provide advice, we support people who have these homes. The commission also conducted preliminary reviews of demolition applications for 65 Adams and 230 Beach Road. 230 Beach Road is a historically significant property, the site of the former Korean Canal Presbyterian Church. The owner of the property is the current Glencoe resident, attended the meeting and intends to construct a single family at this location. While both applications were discussed, no action could be taken as nothing has been formed by. Additionally, the commission discussed the whole conversation regarding preservation incentive programs and potential strategies related to economic incentives. Commissioners reflected on the feedback provided and outlined some possible next steps for refining the program to find economic incentives. The next meeting of the Preservation Commission is scheduled for October 7th, 2025. So I move on. Okay. This is a summary of the tree commission. Again, the tree commission did not meet the this month, due to our bi-month meeting schedule. The announcement for the Tree of the Year winner was published on Inside Glencoe magazine, posted on our website and socials. The committee selected an approximately 225-year-old heritage rural oak on Pier Street as the winner. This tree is nearly 13 feet in circumference and is a wonderful example of the beauty of our trees in our community. The community is coordinating an honorary plaque to acknowledge this winner. We plan to celebrate our new winning tree annually. So please start sharing your favorite trees with us. Our next regularly scheduled meeting is tentatively planned for Monday, November 30th. noon. And I want to add, I was at a professional society meeting recently, and somebody referred to Glencoe as that needy community. Thank you.
Thank you. For that report, maybe next item on the agenda, report to the officer of the first people can.
Thank you, President. The board and people hanging out for that. I just gonna work quick, so I wanted to go through, first of all, this is a large project. I am very pleased for that everything that has been completed as a significant impact on the traffic area, especially those who live nearby. All and see this. I just want to express my thanks and staff team, patience and cooperation, and some good humor as we used to have traffic jam. It was complicated to do the project. We know what was the loss of the community that this through this spring. Very grateful. There is some partly concentrated bathing this spring that includes landscape restoration as well as the retaining wall that's biggest. This the along that new sidewalk. So that should be completed soon. Again, thank you to the community for engaging. A couple of quick updates on new businesses. Is always something that generates questions. And I just wanted to share, we have been working at staff for some few years. Soon, they welcome into the business community. These are sushi at 317 Marquette Cafe. They are going to continue to operate after the catering. It's exciting and the best. And then I'm going to the nice training. We've been working with their operators and business different light and expanding and very looking for developing and first. And when the curfew speed, when I angular help working valley and the fit along with the and unit, it working here. So they are very. So we're thrilled to all as probably Reed mentioned, we are in budget. So that working planning staff will be presented in draft fiscal year that begins January 1st, 2026. We will close that budget document all 350 or something on the website to roughly meeting for reviewing that time, decision time, student and race as well, and long thing. Service community, some are all run under our just real quickly that last piece they want to express thank you recognize the people and forget posting our safety really was a school where they were was currently all it was a lot of that day. If you're in town, it's a bad day. Very good, I. As a policy thing, or we have. Which is following. Very well. For that, and with that, from my person. Anyway.
Thank you, and I'm going on to the agenda. Private support. You have any bar. Actually, I'm on the agenda. Consent agenda includes items in the polished out line, community data, used by board members, or in the whole section. Don't think they require any further following discussion. Is there a motion to approve that?
Second.
If the move is second, this should be a roll call.
Trustee Laws.
Yeah.
Yes. Susan Black.
Yeah.
Susan, yes.
Yes.
I will have the regular business. First, I will be for discussion. You'll all three readings. Or we have to. Look for the new. That we're going to comment and ask for the next one. When we start talking about that, he said so, or if we don't start. Even explaining balls. And love everybody, but. Those for that all, a brief overview of the fact, timeline that they discussed.
Thank you, President Roman and members of the board. Before you this evening for discussion is Guildhall Streetery and the related license agreement between the village and Guildhall to allow for it to be a public right-of-way on Vernon Avenue, which includes the streeter location at 694 Vernon Avenue. In 2020, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, when outdoor dining was severely limited, the village acted quickly to support local restaurants by expanding outdoor dining opportunities. These measures included allowing expanded sidewalk seating and adapting the village court parking lot to accommodate tented dining areas. In November 2020, following discussions about ways to provide COVID protocol appropriate dining options, and decking that supported 12 greenhouse style dining units, which remained in place until early 2022. Valor's licensing agreement also ended in 2022, as did Hometown's, and both removed their temporary structures. At that time, Guildhall's greenhouse was also removed and replaced with tables and umbrellas, while Guildhall pursued approvals for a temporary but more substantial streetery structure. Suggested as a way to continue to provide dining options for individuals who are concerned about persistent COVID-related risks, the streetery was fully enclosed, but had side panels that could be removed. It all shared that continuing to provide semi-outdoor dining would significantly help them meet the needs of their customers. In April 2022, a second amended license agreement was approved by the village board that authorized the placement of the streetery. The license established the first rental fee structure of 50 cents per square foot per month for the use of 899 square feet of public space on Vernon Avenue right-of-way. The annual rental cost paid to the village was $5,394. Up to this point, there have been no fees or rental costs assessed by the village for nearly 2 years. Discussions for a third extension began in early 2023. Guildhall emphasized the streetery's use as overflow seating during winter months and committed to limiting sidewalk tables to their own frontage. A discussion ensued and trustees noted that they were in favor of extending the license agreement for 1 year at the same fee structure. In early 2024, Guildhall requested a further extension beyond the April 30, 2024 expiration. Ultimately, following extensive negotiations, in June 2024, the village board approved a fourth amended license agreement, which included a 5% fee increase, bringing the annual cost to $5,717 and set a termination date of September 30, 2025. The termination date accommodated Guildhall's request for 2 additional summer seasons. Per the agreement, by the termination date, the streetery was to be removed and the restoration of the parking area to occur. There was mutual understanding at that time by both parties. This would be the final extension of the licensing agreement. Beginning early this summer, the community became aware of the termination date of the termination date on September 30 was approaching. As the village was receiving questions from members of the community, the July 3rd e-news included information about the timeline for removal. During this period, Guildhall also received patron feedback, and a petition was circulated by supporters of the restaurant being given the opportunity to continue to maintain the streetery. Resident feedback received directly by the village was included in your packet this evening. As an important and related side note, in June 2024, shortly after the village and Guildhall finalized the most recent license agreement, the village board approved a contract with Tesca Associates and T.Y. Lind to conduct a comprehensive streetscape and parking study of the business district. The study began last fall and has involved extensive data collection, including focus groups, public meeting, and an online survey with hundreds of respondents. Preliminary findings include significant changes to the streetscape on Vernon Avenue and other locations to seek to increase the size of sidewalk and improve parking options have been reviewed by both the Plan Commission and the Village Board. The Village Board has directed additional public outreach to be done, and that effort has been kicked off. We expect work to continue through this fall and be completed late in 2025 or early 2026. Based on the significant public outreach that the Village Board has received on both sides of this issue, this item is placed on tonight's agenda for discussion. Thank you.
Work. People were here. Good on it. Get a chance to express their view. And then after the road is spoken, the village board will discuss what, if anything. The owners of Guildhall are not even here, please. But Bill's manager and I and one trustee previously met, so they did their case for leaving the street. In addition, you should all know that all communication we receive, including the ones we received today, circulated to the board, and we've read out, we've thought about, we haven't thought to, because that would be against the law. But so you've read don't feel the need to tell us everything was included in your letter, email. With that, what I'd like to do is open this for discussion. And let me just state the problem. We're still going to apply the 3-minute rule with one exception at the very start, which is Guildhall representatives have to be in person, and he be a little longer than 3 minutes. That's probably okay. It's their restaurant. Second thing is if someone has spoken and said just what you want to say, you don't feel you need for the whole thing. You just put it so you can stand up and say, that guy brilliant, Or she was terrific and I do all of it, you'll still get. If someone wants to be half the group, that's great. And at the end of the during the presentation, just ask people in their seat or raise their hand. Where you say, we're going to send you a note on this. Last, before we get started, please try to use an invitation to react. I know that with some CFO, when you think they're brilliant. You don't need the blood, I know you think that. And when someone says something, oh, whatever. You don't have to say that. So with that, let's work us down. Civil discussions, recognizing what we're doing the best we can to try to make a decision in ability. And we know that all of you are here. All right, that I'm asking. Here in June, who's the business manager of the restaurant. I feel all big. All strictly. But if you're used to it, you might make other people, they would get all out of us.
I appreciate it. By the way, thank you for giving me the accept. I was going to ask for a little involvement, so I actually find myself mayor for. Sorry, now. Yeah. Yes, thank you. I'm not going to take all the time. As I mentioned, I did time myself for 4 minutes within something. So I'm here representing the old alternate. We directly I'm part of the business owners and now not here. Apology that are it's a big experience the world here. Before I get to we care stating on their and I believe that before I do that, I just want to personally thank everybody here at the board for engaging with you and allowing this night to happen and all the people and thoughtful conversation we've had here leading into this. As Tara mentioned, we met with a few people last week and we just had a continued thought session. So that we appreciate you telling me you know that. Oh, and then by the way, my team send them. So first of all, I'd like to thank the village as enrolled trustees and village manager rally for being dedicated part of the agenda this evening to the title of Gilcoe Street. We are grateful for the willingness to open up this forum to your direction. We are grateful for the willingness to open up this forum to your direction from the American community to help inform the decision making of faith street. Next, we'd like to move to the Gilcoe meeting where we see me for forgiveness to give them time and after the voice that are giving the last the written communication and informal conversations, petitions, regulations, and regular to the vision being local regional support. We are being with the opportunity to serve the community in the community. Is going to be 15 years in January touch and we give all these Freedom is evident in the perfect picture of Valentine's Feast Day. The time of the individual incredible not able all of the structured regarding nature and the complete character. Raising the board moving to take down and support our project grant and superior year. Over the course of the year, the unique times period required for debt and street very well speed and important treatment. The streetscape is powerful. Randomly projects. In light of that, in consideration of the significant expense dedicated to this period of starting, we are able to go forward with the intention of the capital and structure. In terms of the way we pay, all of the ordering will be your advancement. But it wasn't some time with the administration of which entertaining the board extension. Rather than administrative parking, we say we find and the market they will face in creating more values, values. Fast forward several months ago, typically we had increasing the comprehensive plan was created, we designed the line, we on the time frame position. Developed that. While pending, young planning, being the downtown, meanwhile, many engineers, many street and many people which probably you're doing this point, given the appearance of but time after time, we have heard from guests, coming to the people who enjoy the unique of politics, really, not the day-to-day dining, some patients. We have come to very important spirit on the place of gathering and community and the light fighting books together from outside our community. So we also the village administration how to move and prayer. We were first inspired what we were here to meet from the administration, additional conversation and eventually the consideration. During one of those conversations here, what the change that they're only they said. We do believe the two key things we're considering. One, there was a reason how we public support was created among the small medium consider between the administration and favor. Nearly 700 petition, 750 signatories in favor. Surveys of 700 balance 88 in favor. And one more kind of detail. In short, community and community an important role really in creating and fighting representative. These opinions are stronger than we got amongst table for the 10 and consideration. Through comprehensive free state green science that we gave that reflection and implementation. For me, there's no company that I'm really facing feeling environment that's superior. Seeing the dreams that project given the parties we say and inspire motivated to feed and major land play like the atmosphere. Why we need this failure by such an environment for something else to be developed. Why are you structuring most engaged in all kinds of virus for providing an downtown? In short, we think that by the public support the street and move out structure reinforcement and replace funding being developed non-hold. We thank you very much for your time and consideration.
So one member of the public has said he's got to get out. And that's you have to go first, and we go you'll follow first. So that I would ask Brian's on your bed.
Hi. Thanks for calling. I have a baby at home, so I will have to get home. I'm Todd Glencoe, resident here at Glencoe. I am real estate developer, national estate developer. I'd like to give a perspective on what we see around the country. I see done this for 35 years, and so I work with a lot of communities like, and what Glencoe has, everyone else. I mean, you have beautiful downtown, army, walkable. I do work in Arizona. Carroll Commons, there's DC Ranch, and developers spend hundreds of millions of dollars trying to recreate all the exists here. So there's an obligation, in my opinion, for the village to really look at what they want to be and how to protect them. I can tell you with those projects, what drives those projects is a restaurant centered down. Restaurants provide a gathering spot, they support the other retailers, and those developers saw the way to create the best environment for restaurants to thrive in those communities. And if you've been to those areas, you know what I'm talking about. I do work in Virginia, in the town of Vincent, Virginia, it's about an hour outside the city, and it was founded in 1744. George Washington started his career as a surveyor, that changed hands 62 times in the Civil War. And they have beautiful architecture. Reminds me a little of like a lot of history, a lot of culture. The point being, again, they have pedestrian downtown area. They redeveloped it about 15-20 years ago, and they got restaurants centered downtown. So I'm not here really to speak to. Of course, I want Guildhall, the best restaurant downtown that have this, amenity, because this is an amenity center down. I don't want hometown Lutheran parking moving forward. Because the parking problem is much greater than parking spots. But the point being is restaurants support the community. I came downtown one morning to get coffee. I saw the new Eaton's, the new eyewear store. I went in, met the owners, they're fantastic. Bought some glasses there and really enjoyed it. And so the point is, what does the village want? You have a beautiful downtown, it's already beautiful, new lipstick. I don't really know what that really means. If I want to talk about parking, I would say we need a deck, make it look like a brownstone, and do it. Have parking spots, not gonna start parking issue. I know there's parking problems in the summer, but overall, you should compromise on the amenities that the village needs. And the point is, look, Wheaton, Arlington Heights, Naperville. Am I 3 minutes up?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Go back to Dave. Okay. Now to one thing that I want to do is reach out to folks who have contacted us on behalf of the group. And we got a letter from Scott Stone. He's told us he couldn't be here today, but he wanted both of his children are here today. Make presentation. We only have to say to President Stone, you read it, kind of the whole thing. You don't blow everything's, hold it against your dad. It's what he does.
My name is Alfie Stone from Senator Division. Our parents cannot be here tonight, so we speak on behalf of our family. We are here as lovely residents in our faith. We are your neighbors and we are among many who try to street and to become our neighbors. The sport was street group, with authority rather than meals. Our majority among 80% favor. The survey drew was 700 responses with 85 to 90%. Aside from that number, every other document in the docket, letters, emails, and survey results, shows it all. What matters is this is not about authority, nor is it about expert understanding. We think this is about demonstrating how government is placed, come together, outside problems, and thoughtful power. No one gets everything they want, but everyone gets something they want immediately, gradually, or
So the question of the village of the now is had an injected doesn't and earlier you could not know people will always see this war there and go then the process of matter is as much as it happens. So our question is you're not asking the teacher what we're going to have. When we get this curriculum, we go on the board experience, as well as other financial getting street day, and then if you think you can will, it is not resolved, okay, but it does not play for worse. And if it's not, then we don't be reported as skillful. Then we will there's a street.
You look very, you're very privileged to be here. I'm just, I actually want to get it. As for the, go deep in here. Meeting where all meeting that we start is the. It was. People who was. Especially for people. Thank you very much for all your time today, for all you.
Thank you for that presentation. Yeah, you got it. Good job. Next, I'd like to ask Barbara Miller.
Hello. First of all, thank you for all your work on this thing. It's sad. I and many others have enjoyed mining and feeling all the uncertainty that has been extended. It's a decade of business. Nevertheless, I am speaking in support of the village board facility and the license. And here are the reasons. The first one you have to do is the specs. Building with the major structure look as good as it can be, but I think that it runs the streets again. The downtown Texas about 2 years ago, a lot of visual appeal estate in Glencoe, we featured among other things, entry, the 2 sides, the visual ratio, building height, freeway. The experts consulted in the accident plan felt that such visual contributed to the development and the atmosphere. But I think that the street rate obliterates. The next reason I have is my concern about traffic flow and safety. It does use the street and the third person five at bottom and back down. Also, with less room, less visibility, the risk of accidents increases. Parking, we've heard about it, parking is difficult, and can be flagged. When spaces there, doesn't seem fair, we just take out that and parking spaces. And then the last item I'm concerned about is the appearance of favoritism. Glencoe is the only business in Glencoe industries, which gives it the appearance of being in favor. Even if no other business ever requests similar license. But it is a request made. We have even more in favor of some is denied. It is an addition, another one granted than all the ones that actually in that. So in conclusion, the license is granted during the pandemic, think that the benefits outweigh the disadvantages, and it's intended to solve record speed and equality short-term problem. And I don't think we should be permanent solution to temporary. Thank you.
Thank you. There are all issues in favor of paving of street. I think Lissa Avenue is so big, we did one. And on which so they one of them, they both signed up and when they both want to speak. But Melissa.
Thank you.
And by the way, the village manager and I. And Scott Stone was there. They did their history.
My Melissa, this is my neighbor and friend Laura. We're here tonight. We love this creative home and want to share my experience. For uncontrollable safety, it's somewhere we can bring our children, even when they're acting perfect, and still feel well. We can walk them, enjoy a wonderful meal without waiting too long, and truly feel part of climb up. The staff who does all feels like family to us. They greet us by name, remember our favorite drinks, and even look out for our times of faith. We worry about what closing the surgery would mean for them. because they didn't have that throughout the year. The street green was the benefit of our entire community.
Yep, so families gather here, you have birthday parties. Yeah, families gather here, neighbors see one another, serve others, see people communicating together. When we heard about the street possibly closing, Melissa and I sat there and asked ourselves, what do other people think? So we decided to start a petition in terms of getting feedback from the community, not only within Glencoe, but elsewhere, and have friends and families push it out to other friends and family. And in just a short time, we were amazed that we got 746 in September from the one you mentioned before. People to agree with us to keep the streetery. These are people from Winnetka, these are people from Glencoe, these are people from Heights, these are people from out of state that have had amazing memories of the streetery that they want to continue to have and continue to support in this amazing town. So a few words that people had shared with us is it makes Glencoe feel like a vibrant and alive community. It is one of few places where families of all ages, from 8-year-olds to upper second. Also, one of our favorite places to gather comfortably. We love having something special here right here in town. We love to be able to walk there, walk home. We love to see our friends and family, and most of all, Jerry and the staff are so amazing to this community. And it really feels like family and welcome and home every single time you go into there. So thank you to you and your staff.
As you mentioned, we're speaking on behalf of the city from so we just, again, thank you for your time and hearing this. We believe that figuring out a way to keep the streetery going would be beneficial to our families and
I'll ask, Dr. Edward Bollinger, he quite submitted a different petition, and I go another way, not both.
In anticipation, I hope you can all hear me. In anticipation of this meeting, we contacted 20.
We get to decide, so they're going to run the
We
talk.
contacted about 20 individuals, including some merchants in Glencoe. And basically, there's a general agreement with what Barbara Miller has said earlier. Number one is fairness. Is it fair to the merchants to be deprived of adequate parking, so clients cannot park? One merchant told us that he had a meeting for a meeting at noon, and he gave up his parking place. He couldn't, when he came back, he couldn't find a parking place and was late for it. The other issue is the other restaurants which are opening up in Glencoe. Is it fair to deny them the treatment? Third, the Greek gate is historic with the Weinke's building being one of the great historic buildings in Glencoe. And it is obstructed by this structure, which one of the preservation architects of this Glencoe described it as, although it's well kept, as boards with a roof. And the final comment that people have is they're concerned about safety, especially at night, walking around the area, and not seeing pedestrians walking back and forth to the restaurant because of the obstruction of the area. So basically, the 20 or so people we can really contacted are in agreement with all these 4 objections. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Alger. And we got a person who are younger and I'm gonna be able to talk to them,
We are Clinton's fourth grade. We are standing up for the development generated, because since 2020, our family has been every Tuesday. Generated. We are for instance, of family like total and the inside is very, very high. So I there are no the we can do without rain because like when has healing issues and I think we we also lost that. I would like to mention one of our favorites that and it always knows everyone. And always requests the dance. Finally, I feel that it's pretty safe, it's really because I would say there wasn't like community inside, making it easy for cause to see and share testing see from the light. So that's we also see many friends and our age group or younger with their cat. And it creates a great amount of space and time to see our friends and conversations and that we don't always see them. Thank you so much.
that's getting shot, love. It's other parents who did do it. Also sympathize with our problems, and saving to the grandpa. So that's, this character is unfair or follow. Well, and it's really chatted.
I said a couple of times today. First of all, Gilcoe clearly asked. I'm going to hear it. Okay, that being said, I read the packet, and thank you for our conversation. And I hear that this is a surprise at the end of June that the structure will be down in September. I've been following this since over the years. Every person in the community said yeah. Last year, it was in capital letters, final center. Everyone was aware of that. This year, in early July, it was noted that the structure would be down in September. Why is anyone surprised? Why does anyone need more time? I don't understand that. Secondly, you have all kinds of email and survey results from a group of people who went under the radar. And while we were following like other happening, they decided to do their own campaign. I don't know who the survey results. I don't believe it's representative of the campaign. I'd like to know exactly how they determined who it is. And I certainly, along with others, would have been writing if we thought for a moment that we couldn't possibly fix plus by the book of the. So my ask is that you keep your commitment to the community, follow the process you follow along, and schedule the renewal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaking children. First I shall do. Didn't know, and we're gonna have a couple of lawyers first.
I-
Field of lawyers.
I am not a lawyer. I've gone through the 12-step program. And I was.
To be clear, I'm not negative about lawyer.
First, let me start by thanking all of the board members for volunteering your time. And also let me thank Bill and staff for everything you do for the village. Deeply appreciated. I assume all of us want a thriving and economically successful uptown Glencoe. In fact, other communities on the North Shore want the same for themselves. And they have actually been paying to attract restaurants such as Guildhall to their communities. Most recently, I'm sure you all know about Glenview paying money to Valley to get them to come and build a restaurant there. We want Glencoe to have thriving restaurant businesses, both for the people that live in Glencoe to gather with other members of the community, and also to bring revenue into Glencoe from people who reside in other communities. If Guildhall wants to keep the streetery open to help its restaurant operation, I do not understand, I've not heard a compelling reason to pull its license. The license is not costing Glencoe anything. In fact, I've taken from the presentation, we're getting some revenue. We should be encouraging Guildhall to operate in Glencoe and not make it tougher for them. In terms of parking, the presentation I saw earlier said there were 4 spaces that the streetery uses. I assume if the streetery goes down, Guildhall's going to be entitled to 1 or 2 of the carry-out spaces that other restaurants get, which means a net gain of what? Maybe 2. As for the parking issue, my husband and I were sitting at Guildhall having lunch yesterday talking about it, and he and I agreed, and we come to Uptown Glencoe all the time, and because we're lazy, we drive instead of walk. And the number of times we had to drive around for more than a few minutes to eventually find parking. Between the 2 of us, we could count on 1 hand. I go to J. Terry Ross down the street for my hair and my nails. I would love to always be able to pull into a space right in front for my mani-pedi, but I'm happy to give up that luxury to keep the streetery. I do think that there is a safety issue in Glencoe. Okay, and I think we need a crosswalk in the middle of the street to get to parking.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you're used to the bother people as you work.
I was worried.
Let's stick with lawyers, and, who might do our part. Well,
Law. Thank you.
yeah.
I know for you and I appreciate the job you have to do and decisions you have to make, so thank you for that. I don't want to repeat what so many people have said, I'll be quick. I think everyone agrees this restaurant should be the entire region of our. It makes it more vibrant, it has such an impact on the downtown, especially. And we all know that originally this period was just supposed to be during COVID. The date with the extension, but a lot of time in life you do things for one reason. And then when you do it, all of a sudden you get these benefits you never expected. And that's sort of worked out. Went up there trying to replace the little plastic hut, and then all of a sudden you're in the community home.
and, you know, parties there, all we've heard from everybody tonight. But I don't, you could get stuck in the idea, did it one for one thing, and purpose is done, because so many other services, I think that. Real quick, someone made a point about protection and when we have to do this road. As far as I'm going to look at the report, this is the only restaurant. Be able to do with the urban models of business, our town to be somewhat of a. There, restaurant graveyard, but it was very hard, good restaurant. Everybody was done it, they figured it out somehow, we all love it. If some other restaurant, you know, does a great job in their 2 years, they might have sort of, maybe. You know, whoever, maybe something you can think about that, but I don't think that should hold you back, man. The last thing I'd say is, I don't know exactly what the problem is in the way, but. You're inclined not to move today. It just seems like given the important support and given the value, maybe there's something waiting, waiting for this survey to be done, working with Guildhall, whether they're putting up a survey that everyone uses is an out survey. Survey, something like that. It seems like there might be a to figure out a way for everyone. Yes, that's what we do. Thank you all for your.
Thank you for your presentation. Big gas and now will get that through is share of presentation. Recently conducted a survey, 7-member commission, preservation commission, and our advisor, so 8 individuals. On the city, here are the results. There was 1 who abstained. There was 1 person who supports keeping the security as it is. 6 support removing the security, potentially allowing seasonal tents or seasonal solution. Some of the commission comments of the support of keeping security intact included that it brings value, it's unique, it adds to the character of the community, and it contributes to local tax revenue and generation. It draws residents, visitors, place of meeting, etc. Some of the comments urging the removal of this food. It's an excellent, dangerous, and takes away our street parking. Seasonal tend to be fine because the road divider structure that will be removed. It's really unattractive. From a preservation perspective, and these are mostly my personal comments. The character and sense of place for the business district is highly valued by the residents. That comes in loud and clear in the conversation. That includes the physical nature of the architecture. What is like walk around? It's also economics and the social value. This particular element is very unplaced in the area. It privatizes public space. It's not respectful to the character of this. It makes the sidewalk, the change to it, seem like part of their life. In some places, that sidewalk path in less than 5 feet, you tables, streetcars, and dirty dishes. And in fact, I'm going to keep this back. It also crowds. In my opinion, it's kind of misleading to give away credit only to the street. I walked through it today at 1 o'clock. Noted that there were about 6 or 8 pages to teach them about 3 different eating locations, which had moved freely. However, there were more people at food stuff and multiples of more entries. Many of the locations had people chatting with people as they passed by. And as a general principle of urban design, open seating allows and encourages spontaneous connection with people. By contrast, street feeding is reserved only for Guildhall customers. Now, interestingly, looking back in June of 2020, Hometown erected an interactive wall mural inside their building with
After some discussion. Next one more moment, because I'm talking for a group.
50. You are, okay, good.
They took it down after 6 months and it was still very right. Before all this Glencoe had, of course. This would not necessarily. I urge the board of trustees not to renegotiate the agreement so that this theory can be dismantled and other feasible explored. Thank you.
And, okay. You. Jen Scott. Thank you very much. And Bull Star. Steve Mandel. Or. Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Sean Eby.
My wife Barbara and I oppose the extension of license.
If you want to speak, come on up.
It's be very short.
Brian, you got it.
Okay, can everybody hear me? My wife, I oppose the extension of the license. Our positive opinion has been expressed pretty clearly by all under other people, namely parking problem that we have in the commercial area of Glencoe. And secondly, president just said of putting a building its own privately on open space. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much. Laura Lupone.
They were the courts, maybe?
Good to be. Come on. Okay, you're here, smile, you're different, all that is funny.
They just wanted to say that the first time I was speaking at the meeting, that thank you for having jumping on her side. And so, we planned for leaving her home and then we from home because gather and we love and so and it's all to perfect unpaid paychecks, jobs, we wanted to come to them. Just jumping on the time, practical family, also degree, educational, bills that you want to make or consider. That we are trying to continue attracting families that want to be Glencoe and Gilbert Hall has that they need the extra capacity to meet the demand that is actually coming into the building, right? And as I mentioned earlier, it's very part-time, it's a community, God knows and 116 nature farm. But what we are seeing is that building a very need for our community and he's creating enough capacity to satisfy them. And so I'm challenged here on a build out a 3-year period. If they were to bring more capital and have the demands needed, that would be a conversation like this. Will it actually warrant an instructive being good on the street? I think it's a little sort of like to think structurally, visually, does it balance balancing out visual appeal? Because for what gain in attractiveness, it's working and break down and look at thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Case Haley.
Thank you. I would like to start off focusing on the Glencoe owner email on the agenda packet, pages 116 and 117. The word "we" appears in there 29. But this agenda is important. Then it's about public property, long-standing agreement. In the agreement, there is no expression of gratitude to the village for allowing the ugly tenant public property for 5 years. Instead, these owners have displayed a lack of gratitude and a sense of entitlement by reneging the agreement and organizing a campaign to support their withdrawal. I'm asking President Rowan and trustees of honor their commitments to the resident of Glencoe regarding the removal of the tenant at the end of this month. The tenant is on looking for it to be erected, tear it down through the street, and we have an LRA. Created. At that point, we all can continue to operate just as they did 7 years ago. And that isn't good enough anymore. And the Guildhall owners still want to restaurant land without space. They make it good to operate the restaurant in the new Glencoe Ball Clubhouse. They can put their right on the 18th green, it's on the greenery rather than the screen. You'll be interesting to see golfers like a tenant in the 18th green, as well as people searching for scarce parking downtown Glencoe, like a tenant for a magnet. In conclusion, after 5 years, it's time for the Glencoe government to stop being manipulated, owners, and to show that Glencoe returns to the present. Right. Then I have another bit. Let me say that as a retired professional statistician and following the Physical Association, that survey 700 so means 10 and we can even narrative the people have to buy baseball team. And please I'm Chris Ron Chris. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, really invite our
Good evening. I've lived in Glencoe since 1964 and have had the pleasure of seeing around town go through many relations from the mid-60s to the mid-70s. We have a little identity in Glencoe, and it's kind of fun. Kids were running around, a lot of people were downtown. We had big ball, 31 labor, and it was a place to get. Since that point, we've had years of and now career. That's changed over the years, but never till now has been what to look like. This is for many reasons. Actually, Glencoe and a hometown, more restaurants joining the town. But the fact that we have activity in the downtown area is, in my opinion, wonderful for the village. It's wonderful for the people. Not very good at public speaking, not very good with it. I don't have a dog in the race. I don't have an agenda. I just drive through downtown with minimum twice a day, about 60 years, and have never had, I've never had find a place locally. Not that big a deal. I think we all need to have a big appreciation for what the village is and different new businesses that come in and just keep creating it. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Despite me, I only have one for you, this is the setting the vendor was 94, you kept referring to downtown Glencoe. I've been here since 5, those. Bullshit, no, it's only three. We have one that would not indicate which way to go on land, go up, or low.
I wasn't really planning to speak, but I sort of feel like I have to. I've owned 3 yoga right next to Gilcoe for 7 years. I have a wonderful relationship with dogs. I love being their neighbor. I love the energy of the surgery rooms. But nobody has ever really asked me how I feel about it until last week. Really, the petitions, all the Facebook feed and Instagram, nobody's asking me. My visibility to and from the street has been greatly marred. People don't know I'm there. They were so grateful to me. They put up my name on their security wall, thank God. They offered to buy me a new awning, so nice. They have been nothing but good to me. But it is loud all the time. Plates, chairs, people drinking. Don't get me wrong, they come in, they shop, they don't even know the yoga studio, they see I have clothing there and they come in, and I am really happy for that. I'm neither here nor there. I want them to be successful. They're a lot of the reason so many people come to town, but I also want them to be able to see my business as well. That's true. Thank you.
Ricky.
Hello, I'm Ricky Cooper, I'm looking for the story on here, Number 1, I do understand how private business is allowed to serve public company for profit. This isn't a too good tax deduction. I'm not an organization. This isn't the market value for the regular cost. It's not a civic organization, the fire. It's a private business. All the time, we need them to. Apparently, they existed very well. Before this year, they existed very well from 2012 to 2020. And then they needed it and they got it. And good for them. And all the time, people said, well, waiters there are very nice. The waiters in jail are very nice as well. If I ever business, I would demand what they have. And if you didn't give it to me, it would be. And not enough all that we said about not only the states that take it. And we said earlier, well, they can't afford to be winning like the only game to Saturday, they got a 45 station, and they have 3 more stations. You know, south, north side of these 3 that were looking. And I'm coming to that about the children in the cycle. They take up the cycle. I see many people walking around this city, and walking around the street around as well. Rather than locating the court that is on the cycle. And let's, I would say that I'm we began everything. When this started, and when the pandemic started, I'm hoping for everybody again. We all have that. The pandemic is over. Guildhall will be visited as well after the trio gets closed, because they did it for many years before that. And I want to give public property to a private business that is its only purpose is there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure if she would be here if possible. There's no relation. Victoria will be adjourned. If you like, to everybody. That's rare. Congratulations, Sherry. We get this long, scrambling together. Else we wish no.
Just because it's getting late, I want to say I'm favor, I think everyone who stated the reasons why it was called, they shared my community. But I just wanted to stand up and say, I think you're really more comes. Taking the way will absolutely change the experience that most of us have in our community from home. And somehow John Jerry, and even Jerry Medical speaker. And that has hurt me. So I just going, but I just want to be.
Thank you very much. Barney, go.
I agree with the alternate and the rule here, so. Everything else was said, really, I'm. Still gonna be reiterated, this is about what it's appropriate.
I believe that we've gone through everyone who has finally. Is there anyone who wanted to speak, didn't get a chance before we end this part of the meeting and we turn it back for discussion? Okay. Let me say thank you, everybody. This was. You get a great. I mean, how we come out and they act for free. But you've got great, you've got thoughtful, smart, civil, polite. All terms that are often not used in those board meetings in public. So I'm grateful for in addition, I'm grateful for the many letters, all the continue to develop here. So thank you for that. With that, I have the village board discuss what we should do. If you notice, one of our trustees, Joe Paul, here. You know, go to school, he can probably prep water, plumbing, probably prep football. But he went back before he left. Here, they need to be on that. I'll ask her to look at that and restart. Hey.
Dear Glencoe President, trustees, as a trustee, I will be attending our meetings and. I would like to share my perspective on the Wall Street and other issues about presiding. People organized structure. And see, contributing to the vibrancy of the area. While I understand everybody's degree of the street as period, it's in my opinion, that should consider attending the we have updated policy. And just as they extended by 1 year, for 30. The primary reason for my position is because there is a strong and call for the village to find a all to preserve without going off. And we should take this feedback seriously, use it as an opportunity. I also believe it's important to work loud when we get off. Such as an April, 30th grade. Similar, we see it in the open plan and New York City. Businesses were all while maintaining area and or in the obvious disadvantage of the rest. And the benefit of these programs should be structured either equal person. You will all give us a larger and more common policy. Reasonably add an hierarchy of individuals. I encourage the village to continue the suited study of the foundation, remanaging how public space and support our public businesses. Extending time by one county to all prime by let's work together for a solution and creation sincerely and all best must be.
Okay. Ours. Traditionally, the president was proposed. Only there's time. But it can get it speak first. So he thought a lot of this for years. At first, we are grateful and glad that Guildhall was in the business district and has been successful. We are grateful to the owners of Guildhall who are well-to-do and some restaurants have been able to sort of put more into it and still maintain success. We are grateful to the owners of Guildhall who put aside benefits village from the restaurant have gotten shared with the community, including large contribution to the right theater, which is model as a transform. And look here in that restaurant, they closed up 5 o'clock. I think the writer theaters from primary drive where it all now Guildhall theories. So regardless of that, we are grateful for what Guildhall has done for our building. Hope that in some discussions about street and the fact that the street was come down. People have suggested the village is uninterested in outdoor dining. And that is we are absolutely interested in outdoor dining. And so the question that we've been looking at, the question today is how do you feel about building a street that are outdoor dining? The question here addressed is Glencoe is not the first to be able to place. In the pandemic, many municipalities made accommodations for the pandemic, which included building structure as being street and light in the street. As a pandemic proceeded, really almost universally, the municipalities pulled back and said, no more being buildings street. In early discussion, some people were critical of the decisions to pass Guildhall take out the street and just one. People said, why can't it be more like that work doing that for our other neighbors? And that can go that. Yeah, that's what outdoor dining is not buildings. They don't block. New York City, one of the letters we got to the office. Yeah, so those really he wrote that the really like restaurant in New York and that we should keep it the way New York has done. It turns out that if allowing the restaurant, the building in the street, New York has most people in this country get retrenched and said no permanent buildings, no dwelling buildings in the street. What New York allows is temporary structures in the street from April through summer. So the question is not, do you want outdoor dining? How do you feel about outdoor dining? Not how do you feel about the fall. We're in favor of fall. The question is whether it's appropriate to have permanent building in the street. Now the pandemic is over. Our neighbors don't like New York City. They have one big Chicago that have temporary structures for the season. In the day, with county is really unique that they have a program for structures in the street, but it is limited speed. So we thought of, we haven't got people already. Street that's something yes, we should look at. But to me, the question is not do we like to fall like streetery, the question is permanently. In my view, permanent buildings in the street are particularly problematic in our little tiny uptown business. Although I think we could accommodate, we could not accommodate a permanent second building by default because they were in the fall. And I think it is not, I understand, but I mean, low, the streeters should be excellent, we should just leave it. Nobody else gets that, well, it's still because I would believe that a seasonal scene could accomplish a lot, but it looks like just I think you should look. If we have a program, by the trustee always suggested what we should be looking for is seasonal program. I think I agree with that. I don't think that's a possible thing to do. If we could, if what we're talking is a permanent building in the street, then I think we would have to look to get fair prices for our residents for what is essentially a roughly required. But we've not thought of this, so maybe you guys should show us plan what's right in the village. But like I said, if the street change from pandemic now to a permanent building street, but we really have to ask for a lot more money to get involved. Hey, by the way, here is the resident. Park. So parking's been a problem in the village. These things are residents, they for rent, restaurants can go straight, but most of the people say, oh, it's terrible. More parking spots that in the world, not necessarily, but I would say, it's worse in the summer. More people don't mind parking in the winter, they do. So I think parking is something we need to consider. As we look at the street shading and the street is for parking space. I don't know if the street dangerous or not. It looks still all very in its state. I don't know if we had infrastructure. They were full, they part of that. So I think the street needs to go, it's dangerous. Let me just talk a little bit about the process. Some people will suggest that their process was fair, for the people surprised. As a presentation that show everything that goes to respect to first broad-based structures on the street at the beginning of the pandemic. That street reading all has done on public. Guildhall asked for the street reading back in 2022. It was expressed understanding and value competition that was expressed in Guildhall, expressed in 2024, and then I had receded. He thought that the street Guildhall came he would like there we have another year of fine that was rightfully Guildhall. I don't know, and it was expressly agreed between Guildhall and me. And then Brian public at our 2024. So all of this was public and expressed. And I should say, we didn't hear very much. People love Guildhall while people there working thought up and control. We did hear from resident curiosity stations that they did. And some residents asked me when it's going to come that we had agreed with Guildhall. They got I wasn't lying, but I can understand my resident involvement to say it live because we're having this discussion. Ultimately, I don't think the village should make the decisions tonight based on whether we have to deal with Guildhall. As I think we should make a decision based on the regular village, where best goes. And I would do that at the same time. And also, when I ran for this job, as I said, which is a lawyer, I'm really familiar with lawyer. But I think it's we never have to do something because of precedent. Having said that, we have lots of still back in 2020 when there was a pandemic. From the rescue of our rescue, we did everything we could, and part of it was that we were saying, "Look, we're going to do this, but it's temporary." And we said to the neighboring businesses and to our residents, "This is temporary." We said to Laura Merlot, "This is temporary. It's going to go." And so I have to say that we have to I would be like this lesson, we want to agree if we sort of go back is the next time there's we want to fix it. The people out here are going to be a lot to fix it. You know, fix we're going to stop it. Great. So this is a medium. All has got three people love the street area. Great. Some people hate the street area. Terrible. It's not to our there's just a disagreement. and both points of view are considered. Where I come from is, I don't think that choice is how to do it. Choice is how to do all that. I think the question is, do you want a growth building street, and go out here, or do we want to move towards a seasonal? I think to do is go seasonal option. What I would like to do is work Guild Hall over the period in street and people seasonal option would go in Guild Hall, Glencoe, and the new sushi place, and with any other restaurant in our village, if we could find a seasonal option to work for. To me, a seasonal option is a degree, might be sense. And it might even be a because we talked about better get street states, because you know, there were three options. One of them involved changing Burn Avenue on the street. Sure, there are reasons for that. Another involves being the spot, so that you won't be popular and local. And that has come forth. Highly expensive. And as we were hearing about it, really well, how are we going to find everywhere, or only some places, restaurants there, or store. So one of the need a seasonal industry, so you don't have to invest in it. So they are the sidewalk construction project, and you can see it works. So now you see it's a decision. No guarantee, right? But I would see, I was hoping that in 2022, we would be working with Guild Hall and others about post tree. That didn't happen. I think it would be a decision I would rather tree function. That we work on that plan now. So the next spring we try a single option as all these. So those are my thoughts. But I don't care. Thank you for okay.
Well, now then, we stand here, so I don't love all the speaking, but I'm not shading, breathing. It's important, I think it's all start by thinking home. Make the first best. I know we say this all the time, but the board welcomes your thoughtful engagement. We believe a lot of changes to keep all our and significant decisions that we have as a community and need to make in the year to come. We're taking the and ask those a lot of things. So now to Paul. Anyone who knows me will tell you that on hospitality, I think we are all better, we're cared for, and well cared for, and well fed. This is something Illinois has been for many years. In this moment, there's been a delineating difference between Guildhall and restaurant and Guildhall serving. And like here, there is absolutely no debate at all about the meaningful contributions that Guildhall and wrestling the state of. And in fact, the existence of this testament to how profoundly grateful that we are. As others have devastating most of them. The street sits on public land. use of the public right of way is a unique privilege, and one that must be granted judiciously and sparingly. The village of Glencoe is not a landlord. We don't do this, and in fact, we cannot do this for others. And that creates a real equity issue, especially for the sellers. And I heard that a lot, last week. So it's essential, and those of you who support this tree, stand the testimony for us tonight. And it is not, do we like this tree, or does this tree have value for our community? If it were, it would be easy. Because we've heard so many of you that it does. The question for us, slightly more future terms, is should the village of Glencoe continue to subsidize the use of public land for a private purpose? Now, I'm using the term subsidized intentionally. As you saw in the presentation earlier, a big survey of local business owners tell you the per square foot is challenged around $2.50 per square foot. For the past 3 years, the Glencoe Street has paid the village 53 cents per square foot. That's a fairly significant spread in the village of gratitude. Getting back to the business owners, I have many neighbors. I was actually really forward to learn that there are at least 26 forward-facing customer servicing businesses on the stretch of Vernon between Park. And for the course of last week, I found my time visiting this many me. I asked them for feedback on and they thought Bill should accept these past the And here's what I mentioned. As an entity, Guildhall is really liked, but the staff at Guildhall is loved. Nearly everyone agrees this asset to the town. Now, with that said, when it comes to the matter of this extension of the food activity, while several of the neighborhood businesses were supportive, the overwhelming majority across the whole district. They spoke of fairness and corrected it out. They didn't say the village could accommodate them if they also wanted to use street parking for additional space. Many of them went there, although Guildhall was paying for the space, and more than one suggested they thought it was flat out to them. Over and over again, even in discussions beyond the precedents running out and forward, questions of worthiness. Among those who were here, there were very many unqualified. Even the streeters heard see that there are significant problems placed in the home. It's not really a rule, it's not really harmful to weigh one business versus another. When it comes to these determinations, those who look at this will say that out. But this discussion of the street forces village to do exactly that, and it proves to be that terms. And so for that reason, I cannot get to the event to compare men and tell an argument about what these thoughtful, amazing dining experience meant to you. As I do the way of these words, concerns will be like the accordingly, I'd like to recommend the board, my colleagues and staff consider the experience of Palmer at the end of this calendar. This allows us to feedback, time and space, and it also aligns with those time use experience and as Alex said, all per square foot increase to at least $2.50 per square feet. Finally, as others have said, I'd like to add that in that additional time, it is agreed upon that we should commit ourselves to establishing these thoughtful, equitable environment. Time. Certain.
So she's got, first of all, trustee who.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I know it's a long meeting, I'll try to keep my thoughts short. Again, this is not about you, it's a restaurant, we all appreciate you're here and make a great contribution. I personally think that restaurants are a special kind of business for a community. Because they foster people getting together in the community. Which is the lifeblood of the community. We do have some issues with this, with Guildhall, with the street. Issues related to design, safety, use of public space, and community connectivity. Upon reflection, I do think we need to, I call it sunset, the present structure, perhaps in January. That's open at this point, but I do think the present structure needs to go. And you may want to refer this matter to the planning commission to work out new standards and fees that would apply to all areas as part of downtown landscape discussion. Leave them, see how that goes. It would be great if the commission could complete their activity within March, with summer season. Again, this is a trial balloon, see kind of process. I do support limited season street dining conversion for fee. And you to share, continue to share your concerns with the president and board of trustees. Thank you all again for being here, and this is the way you're supporting the community as well. One of the things that happened to me when I interviewed for this position of the Glencoe caucus, they said, we want to make, we don't know where you stand on a number of issues, but we want to make sure that you look at pluses and minuses of everything. And that's what I try to do when I have the board, this looks at that as well. And again, thank you for being.
Good evening, thank you. I want to, of course, thank everyone who was here and spoke from their heart, you know, in support and also against the streetery. I also feel strongly both ways for Guildhall. You know, we talked about Guildhall, the business, and then Guildhall, the streetery. We've been here, oh, excuse me, we've been here for about 10 years. And Guildhall did welcome my family, my children when they were little. They're not as little anymore, but with open arms. I still request the same waiter every time we go. Not Pepe, another one. Love him to death. And I, you know, we always have a phenomenal time, both inside and out. Excuse me. I do, however, I don't really feel that a private entity using the public space in a permanent fashion is an appropriate use of that public space, unfortunately. I wish the tables were turned, things were a little different. Unfortunately, I just can't grasp that concept. I come from, I have a technical background in nature. I used to work for the city and actually did oversee the Sidewalk Cafe program at the city for a few years back in my city days. At that time, that program was seasonal in nature. Currently, I think it is allowed all year, but no structures are allowed in the street. At the present day, they did make accommodations during the pandemic. However, right now, those accommodations no longer exist. So I'm pro outdoor seating. I'm pro gathering, pro business. I'm pro lively downtown. That's why we moved here. It's why we are still here. However, I think we can view this a little bit differently and think a little bit more creatively for the future. I think 5 years ago, had we known at the crystal ball and said, all right, for 5 years, what would we have wanted this tent to look like? I don't think we would have approved a structure like that. The tent came to us as a temporary, right, temporary structure. I don't think it went through like, I guess my point is, had we known it was gonna be here for 5 years, that's not what I think we would have approved. We would have gone through different, I think, appearance review requirements. We would have made sure that it came through the plan commission to meet our design guidelines. I don't think it did that. So I guess as it stands, I don't think the structure should stay. But I am open to being flexible and looking at different type of public seating arrangements in the right of way for seasonal dining. Just something that looks a little bit different, maybe and it's a little more fitting in our really nice and quaint downtown. Thank you.
Sure. It's a little. That I know. Knows what people do say. Some of the comments. Go along things pretty differently, that fair, the law actually involved. And so. Just making comments on what he said. I'm a little further in the discussion too. Taking this meeting down, things like. Months ago, we got like last minute of discussion. Go out, get the feedback and go out, see what you think about, options of that. I think that's really important that we not come down. Yeah, I don't think people need to, but conversation should be long time. We built and build about that. Maybe like probably using more vacancy space, whether not making it with anybody. Wow. Seasonal, make it make sense. Seasonal option people know now about the make I'm deciding to leave it alone about the rest of them. Yeah, from the fact that yes, they go back and forth. This is if really goes away. These options good. Everybody bottom going on. People didn't like one view. They go also great place to go or something. I think we all do that too. I well we do this like I like to hear guilt off just how would work if they think that's feasible and do that. I think this is going to happen really too because I agree that if we did it, we would feel even though maybe this is legal fair business, they also support the street who's out there and we don't do it. All kinds of bodies that like sushi place and they wanted food stuffs they wanted the place with all come 100%. And that's so I think the village also be fairly ready.
Thank you. Road five,
Let me add in my thanks to all those participated, both in sending information to us. You, lighting, you, referrals of me, and providing them, showing how speaking from other is comfortable. And to those who, again, I agree with the first time about the other game. To those who say, why would you citizens, we had a deal. Well, yeah, we had it. And you can always enforce the deal. When this process is very important. It's, hey, you're a bunch of neighbors, and a lot of them have very strong feelings. And some on one side, and some on the other, and some in the middle. And we're trying to both bear out what people really. And some of them are very fun. And at the same time, take that as part of the approach, to think about what's best for Glencoe in the long. And uh, kudos to everyone involved for making this such a really painful, difficult decision. And in all seriousness, this shows bringing people up, giving from all support. So, you know, I certainly don't think long-term success of the restaurant is jeopardy that I do. But I also agree with what has been said by your board, by the president, that I just don't think the property is appropriate. And if it was, I still have a problem because I don't understand how we would be valuing the fairness elements of saying to others, should they have this? Yeah, then, I think that's right. So I have to come down and decide to take okay, one, but it's in November. It helps me get a Christmas season in December. Fine, okay. It's not in September. Again, this day has to be doing it now, the use of 12 days. That would be very unconventional and not considered perhaps. And they should get a little. Number two, fine with your compensation, because again, it's not their property, it's not my property. I'll run. And maybe provide a little compensation there. We observe this ability, as has been pointed out, done a lot that helps support the resident financially for all these years. And listen, and the restaurant's great. So, and I'm one of those that love all the tumult and noise and promoting. So in making it a very difficult personal decision, it's little things that you very seasonal dining, very happy with it. I be looking to say to the museum, spending resources, if we can do getting sidewalks and do it that way. The safety, the look, various reasons, rather than streets and from all very different. Very confusing. One. He's finding after character rather than issue. You would get that. This meeting was the earliest to be do that. Giving everybody good reasons that they don't want to get. But I can't get it. You do have people sometimes they need that get a little cut there, say, no ball, right? Now, weeks ago, we reached out to the ball. No, it would have been great if we had as a job in 1.4 years, but I don't think I'm not going to look at any job, maybe plus for that if you thought they were really when it turned out there was not, we had let me say something about when the so currently that taken off
by the end of this month and round. But. And he said, we go all areas take time. The question is, where they should take it out, and they should store it in continuously because the reason was something very big, allow the rest have some season and time to take it out, store. This is being struck. If we push this back to say January 1, problem early, build all store. I don't know what the break is. What the break is. Maybe you don't have but I do think it's important that we. I think that one of the things I do with my job is I try to get the focus of something, try to close it. I'm so different, so I can see. Those some residents are going to be unhappy with this, but there's something important. And for people, we think about the whole, there's a good sense of even for those dollars, that what we want is seasonal. And in a sense, consistently what is obvious all of them. So I would like to work towards that. We need to figure out when we've already told them all, we may take it out if the decision is there. We need to decide things, or we can be, think about this, it's all. The legal matter is supposed to go. We need to decide whether the devil is to say, about the theory, or whether it's one or we can go further. One thing that you could do. Sorry, I didn't hear it. Not aware
would be to direct staff to enforcement of license period in advance. Until the next 4 weeks during the time, basically will be involved timing of it, and then that's that. Possibly alternate recommendations inside, it's a good day, but also in so staff the direction of enforcing spirit.
Second question. Attorney, the manager, as I come to the statement, they're really narrow. Or is the single option. This will work, we would like it. They'll start the next season. What do we, what can we need to do? So that if we consider the direction to the staff, or whatever.
That staff that's the one excellent question. Especially for change what as we're figuring out what to do next, they approach you. I think the more question back is this be is this just for protocol or investment in permit policy on how to deal with reservoirs that would seek to use either sidewalk or Jason.
And it's true. Yeah. True. Okay. You should study anticipating will to our restaurant.
And I think that's, you know, part of policy, we're going to. You know, we only be clean environments where there was either sufficient. If anything, ADA has, if there are. Different parts. Should. Understand, I mean.
Yeah, I think that's. It. Where direction is eating to look at the program. A versus sit and how the program might lie to any stuff in this district. That is something I think you would need to analyze function if it's possible. And I add to that, when back to well and April, so that we have a discussion about how that may apply, we can structure it, but we might be here. In addition to how it ties into the testing for the street and another is whether it would instead look to some other random modification, streetscape, cost, what the impact overall on parking would be, etc. So that's her something that can analyze and bring back. I would say we're going to move on and do that. That probably like this scenario is going to back and well. And kind of basically across the whole of the outside where you would go. But that's sort of some.
All of them like Guild Hall. The city hall. That's great. You like. Yeah. So city hall. It's great. Yeah, okay. Think we need a motion. I think everybody should know Steve. We need a motion, rather than you defer or these we all do all we're gonna do. So that you voting with that and do all for that as one. Then you street take it. The street story. Is there such a motion?
So move with one. One. And we were gonna make it that we're going that. To defer. Enforcing the termination by fine ended provision.
Yeah. When I like. There was something that. Increased rights to build all during this period. And, so. Okay. Okay, so. The motion. With Gary's is there a second?
Back.
Let's have a roll call.
Trustee Nicholas.
Yeah.
Trustee Donovan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trustee Jordan.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yeah.
Motion carried. Thank you everybody for coming. You're love to say yes, everybody. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. And the next, agenda will be certified name markers, when it can be appealed, road, that's been moved. So the next item on the agenda, relation, follow, engineering service, hearing from, our water supply. Addition to with all chief.
Thank you. So I just wanted to start with your scope of work, so this water supply, if there will be any potential water supply open request. We're gonna try to see the existing people. Located, so transition between water supply. This analysis will also going to put in evaluation. Enhance our water supply. We're also going to do water things current investment and help understand what future we and help guide some decisions and then follow this and the cost. So with this, we also want to have opportunity and to be additional professional engineering services part of this. That is not a time basis, but we want to use data, solve resource, help guide. Thank you. So the proposal was completely received some responses. In approaches, we read off and we determined like to recommend paper the current panels. They are a unique experience in helping families with all this type of transition. But then also because of the some spot of industry knowledge. So I think their background experience, work that they've done, we felt like it would help us do analysis. So we're asking your approval to award them, also asking the additional step to support the TNF portion.
Any questions? They say, I think all of them that there is no bigger issue for us, but to our water going forward. Especially, we will have future, so, and, of course. So, and we could find. Is there a motion? This is first, usually, let's have a roll call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Move resolution carries. Okay, the next item on the agenda is consideration of the resolution ratifying the professional services agreement with State Bill Illinois of Chicago in the amount that the exceeds $1,000 on that very well. So it's right. Percent.
Thank you, President, we're going to support this, it's a request to ratify. Was the third to our annual single by all of our annual services. This is really come out of expected and term leave for the person who's name who should really assess the village. When buying that we can split force edge and just in general. With that, we that some unanticipated delays in early processing issuance And in an effort to really service for residents, builders, and works for the building services department as used to. We brought in temporary permit coordinator, starting on July 7th. The super coordinator is a employee, she is working full time. Since July, this was originally done with the manager study every 24 week. And this is a request as we approach the end of the managers to ratify that management take on also $65,000. That includes all the work that's been done. So until now, and that would also take it through the end of the year. We don't know when needed the calendar year. This is kind of the highest possible term. Takes through something. It's the case. You participate in the solution. You might have.
Question. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, does this person have, any time to support some of the others, activities that are done, like the discussion with, revising some districts or some smaller properties, those kinds of things?
Not directly, which I'm doing to provide.
To surviving. I know
it's the time. There's been very limited to that, and that they don't as a project this year because of the situation with the processing, giving us the meter.
Thank you.
If not, currently, you should project prepare a motion. Presence.
So moved.
Second.
Then move to second, roll call.
Trustee Ross.
Yeah.
Trustee Hunter. Yeah. Trustee Roosevelt.
Yes.
Trustee Rubin.
Yeah.
Trustee Scott.
Yeah.
Motion carried. Okay. That came on the Chinese, resolution authorizing the manager to execute a contract with super electric construction company installating electric charging station all for total it's $122,430. Yeah.
Thank you, President Rowan. As part of the village's commitment to embrace more sustainable practices, we have integrated electric vehicles or EVs into the village's fleet, purchased our first one in 2022, and we now have 7 total in the fleet. Currently, the village has level 2 charging stations to support these EVs. This has led to some challenging situations, ensuring that all of these are charging. Last year, the village partner and studied and identified not only additional vehicles that may be converted to EVs in future replacement, but also identified ways that expand charging infrastructure to accommodate more. Based on that study, the village budgeted funds this year to install additional EV charging stations to address not only our current needs, but future needs. The report recommended the village to install bank chargers near the public safety equipment bay. I'm excited to call. The report further recommended that the village should install a level 3 fast charger, fully charge a vehicle in about an hour. This can be critical during emergency situations that require faster response for EV vehicles. The village began working on planning and designing the installation earlier this year. In June, the board approved the purchase of the ChargePoint brand charging station equipment. This approval included the purchase of a 1 level 3 fast charger and dual port level 2 charger. This will bring the total number of level 2 charging ports to 8 for the village's fleet, 1 with level 3. The village board approved this purchase and abandoned the installation in order to avoid potentially higher equipment costs and inflation tariff. The equipment was delivered in its current. Additionally, the new chargers outside Village Hall will be available for public use during the village's current charger in the village port lot. Receives constant use. It has about 5 charging stations per day. Additionally, EVs are becoming more popular in Glencoe. According to the Secretary of State's office, we currently have 650 registered in Glencoe. That represents a 50% increase in EV ownership in here. Staff completed preparations for installing EV charging stations, bid out the work. The village received 2 bids. The lowest bid was submitted by Super Electric Construction. Super Electric is a charge point certified installer and was the contractor we used to install the village porch. Contract would be for not to exceed the amount of $120,480. The total cost of installing the charge, including the equipment, is following, not included as a electric contract is $240,833. This is $40,833 over what was budgeted for the project. Village is able to reallocate limited funds available to other accounts, to ensure that the budget is not like that. Funds.
We all understand. If there are any questions.
Question. Are any federal or state funds available to pay this?
ComEd has a rebate program for EV charging stations. The 2025 program has exhausted all the funding. There's some big language on the website currently that says we may be able to apply for some in 2026, depending done, so then we will pursue that. And
So we may pursue those in the future.
yes, it's correct. But also know we've made use of some other common programs to rebates on the EVs that we have.
Sure.
Second,
Trustee Thomas.
yes.
Trustee Hunter. Yes. Trustee Rosen.
Yes.
Yes.
So, that concludes our schedule. If there are any other business. If not, please, we need to second. For the reason, is there a motion to adjourn?
So
Moved, seconded, all in favor, say aye.